So today I want to talk about YouTube growth and something that may actually be the reason that you give up, and probably why most people give up on their journey to growing a channel or a vlog. And it's something that I've found to be incredibly true in life, in business, and especially true on YouTube. And it's something that I'd like to call the dumb genius roller coaster. And this is basically where we all start off on a high. You know, maybe you've started off with a January intention and you think you're going to do really well, and it's all that momentum after Christmas, positive vibes, good intentions. You're planning out your videos, you're doing the research, everything's going well. You're running on the high of the expectation of what it might actually be like, how good it might actually be. You think, okay, I planned out my 10 videos or whatever you're doing. Because you don't know how they're going to do, you're optimistic. Even though deep down you know that they're probably not going to work. The first video is probably not going to do that well. They're not going to get many views. No one, unless they really know what they're doing, gets views right away. They just don't grow right away. So we know that deep down in our heart, and yet we still have the expectation that we're going to be different somehow, and suddenly it's going to grow and we're going to explode. So delusional as it might be, this is the part of the expectation where we're running high. We've got high expectations and lots of hope. And then what happens is, maybe to use January as an example, you're a couple of weeks in and you upload your first videos and you get nothing. And suddenly you feel disappointed. You're in that low. It's not quite working. You don't really understand why or what you can do about it. And this is the dumb part. This is where we feel dumb and we just don't understand what we can do about it. But then suddenly, after uploading enough, hopefully you don't give up at this point, and you continue and you're consistent, and suddenly you start to get some traction and video views start to go up, and maybe, just maybe, one of your videos goes viral. And I see this a lot. Channels suddenly think they are absolute geniuses, and this is the top of the roller coaster. So you are on an initial little high bump to begin with, and then you've gone down into a dip where you're feeling dumb, and then suddenly you're at the top of the roller coaster again, and now you're feeling incredibly smart, incredibly clever. You think you know it all. You've got this YouTube thing absolutely nailed and mastered. You understand it, easy peasy. So you're at the genius, you're on the peak. But then suddenly, as roller coasters do, you go back down, and you're back down into another dip, another low point in the roller coaster, and you don't understand why you're no longer getting views. And what happens with most people is they get those initial views, that initial video, and it's normally because you tapped into a trending topic, and that trend rides, and then other people jump on, and it gets diluted and it no longer works. And you need to essentially understand YouTube more so that you can find another trend or find another way, or evergreen topics. You need to expand your knowledge. So you basically don't know it all. You're not a genius. But we start to get disillusioned. We start to think it doesn't work. Maybe, just maybe, you've been shadow banned. No, you haven't. You just don't fully understand YouTube yet and how it works. We're always ups and downs, and genius peaks and dumb lows. But what happens is that genius vibe, when you're back in a dip, you feel dumb again. You start to have imposter syndrome, you start to doubt yourself, you start to think, maybe I don't know this YouTube thing. And you do know it to a degree, but you just haven't had to overcome the failure part. You haven't had to overcome any obstacles yet. And this is where most people give up. They stop, they give up, they think it's not going to work for them, or YouTube is against them, or whatever else. But just like when you started, you have to push through that dip. You have to come out the other side, and you have to try to get back up to the top. So you need to ride out this dumb part. But what you actually want to do if you want to succeed long term is you need to understand that there will always be dips. So you need to expect and plan for the dip. What's the next thing? And not to get too disappointed or despondent when you ride into that dip. Same in business. You will not be a genius. Things do not always just go up and up and up and up. They will always drop, and they will always go back down, especially if you start changing niche on your channel and suddenly your audience don't like all of your videos. So this is the genius dumb roller coaster, the up and down ride that is YouTube. Now, with that said, Seth Godin, a marketer, he wrote a book on this, just a small book. It's called The Dip. Now, The Dip is essentially a book about where all the growth happens. So it's where all the growth happens in business. You have to push through the dip. And we all need the dip to fine-tune our skills and to become good so that we can push through and have that more progressive growth. And whenever you see anybody in business, you see the graph of their growth. And it always has this low point, and that's the dip. And then it starts to go up a little bit, and then it's normally exponential growth. And it's on the other side of this where all the growth wins and everything else happens. So The Dip is a book worth reading. As I said, it's not that short, but then you'll understand business, you'll understand YouTube, you'll understand everything a bit better, because it just becomes easier that you know that the dip is part of the process. Because if you actually think about it, if you were to go to, say, to do anything that's new, to learn anything new, and maybe even start going to university or a job or anything, there's always a learning curve. You have to go through the pain to get to the other side. Let's face it, if anybody could do YouTube, it would be easy. You know, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. There has to be a barrier to entry. Otherwise, you know, why would everybody not be doing it? It's the same in every type of business. Making money, you've got to push through the pain. And it's why most people give up. And if you're going to give up, then, you know, you've got to push through the dip no matter what you choose to do. Be it a new job, a new business, a new channel. So you have to push through that dip, that low point, that dumb part of your section. So yeah, you've got to go through the dumb part, the pain, and push through. But know that it's part of the process. I've said in other videos, once you start to get haters and everything else, and more comments, more engagement, you know that you're onto something, because this is all a part of that process. You need to go through the dip because it's going to strengthen you and show you the other side. Now, it makes me laugh. I see a lot of smaller channels that teach YouTube growth and stuff like that, and nothing against them, good on them. But unless you've gone through a few dips and you've understood why you go down and how to go back up, then you never really truly understand. So if you're starting to go through a dip now, or you're struggling with the first dip, know that there will be more, but each dip gets smaller and it gets easier to get out of. So hopefully that helps you a bit understand the process of YouTube and how you can succeed. And just know that it's part of the process. And as always, if you want more training, I'll put a link to our free community in the video description, and you can ask me more questions inside there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.